Welcome to the BEASTwriter Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Sakamoto, and today we're going to be discussing the comments that were made on Monday Night Football by Steve Young in regards to Jimmy Garoppolo. So let's get started. I've been fielding a lot of questions as to what's going on with the San Francisco 49ers at Levi's Stadium. What am I hearing from my sources and so forth. So this is what I have developed based on my analytics and what people are telling me. Obviously, no one knows for sure. There's no such thing as a sure thing, but we can all speculate and forward project. All right, so let's get going. Let's start off. So Jimmy Garoppolo has been a player where it comes with mixed reviews as far as the faithful are concerned. Some consider him a top 10 quarterback. Some don't. Some don't even consider him a starting quarterback. They're on opposite sides of the spectrum. I think he's somewhere in between. I don't think he is a top 10 quarterback, although I did tweet that, and I admit when I'm wrong. I did tweet that he is a top 10 quarterback before the season began. Now, he's not playing like a top 10 quarterback. It could be due to injuries. It could be due to a lot of things, but we'll get into that a little deeper as we move on in this podcast episode. All right? So, speaking of my podcast episode, if you caught my podcast episode on Fred Warner, he's due for a front-loaded contract. I explained it. The 49ers find themselves in salary cap hell currently, and they can get themselves out of that hole by releasing 3 players, which I mentioned in the last podcast. So after watching this video, go ahead and scroll through, watch my podcast, because pretty much spot on, I would say 95% of it. And obviously, if I was 100%, then I'd be God, but no one's God. All right? So, getting back to Jimmy Garoppolo. What do the 49ers do? This is what Steve Young said. If you haven't heard the Monday night rant that he said during the pregame, he said, "This looks like a disastrous year. It creates a focus on the one question that you had about the 49ers coming into this year. Can we get to a place where Kyle Shanahan, this innovative offensive coordinator, one of the best head coaches in the league, can find a quarterback that he can trust and just be expansive with rather than protect?" You like how I did that? Furthermore, he says, "I think that's been the issue with Jimmy. And I think that $25 million and a shrinking salary cap with this injury, I just don't know how Jimmy ends up being the quarterback of the 49ers next year." These are pretty strong words coming from a Hall of Fame quarterback who, as you know, is one of the greatest quarterbacks ever to play game, just so happened to play for the San Francisco 49ers. And he brings up some solid points here. So I'm going to break it down into a couple parameters. The pros and cons of keeping Jimmy G, I have it listed here. So I'm just going to go ahead and don't mind me scrolling. Just kind of my note taking. You feel me? All right. So let's talk about the argument for keeping Jimmy G on the roster. Well, you got to ask yourself, is the grass greener on the other side? Because if you move on from Jimmy Garoppolo, what are you going to get in return? Is it going to be better? Is it going to be another game manager? Is it going to be a player that you have to develop over the course of 2-3 years? What is the perfect storm that you're trying to create so when you hit that Super Bowl window again, things open up and you guys can make a strong run at it? Okay, that's one of the questions I raise. Second of all, he's 24-6 as the starter. That's an 80% success rate. 80% of the time, Jimmy Garoppolo wins, and that's including the playoffs. So if you're a betting man, you're rolling with Jimmy G. I don't care who it is at quarterback. The numbers don't lie. Jimmy G gets the job done. He'll get you the W. All right. Lastly, he has a career 98.9 passer rating. That's pretty strong. And whatever you want to call him, again, he gets the job done. He wins games. So I don't care how you win the game. As long as we have more points than their team and we win, we get that W, all is forgotten, right? All right, now let's talk about the argument for wiping your hands clean of Jimmy G. All right, he did not lead them to the Super Bowl. I kept on saying that all year long. He did not lead them to the Super Bowl. It was the top rushing attack backed up by a strong defense. That's it. What wins Super Bowls? If you look at historically throughout the NFL and the history and the trends around the league, you win by a strong running game and a top 5 ranked defense. That's it. You don't have to score points technically. Look at the Baltimore Ravens, what they did in, I believe, the year 2000 when they beat New York Giants. That was historically one of the best defenses, and Trent Dilfer couldn't put points on the board, or Banks couldn't put points on the board. So when you take that into account, defense wins championships. I don't care what anyone says. It's an offense-happy league. But at the end of the day, if you don't have a stout defense, I'm not rolling with you, bro. Plain and simple. All right? Secondly, what I don't like about Jimmy Garoppolo and the argument for letting him go is he doesn't go through his progressions. If you watched my YouTube channel earlier last year, I was breaking down all of Jimmy Garoppolo's interceptions. He is a one-read quarterback. If you notice, his hot read's always going to be George Kittle, and rightfully so. I think any quarterback would be his number one target. However, you have to look at it from a offensive coordinator standpoint. You can't just be looking strictly at George Kittle running down the seam when you're getting pressure, or if it's one-on-one coverage, and then you cannot scan back to the other side of the field. It does your receivers no justice. It doesn't open up the passing game. The defense can now pin their ears back and attack you because they know you're not going to look the other side. You have the free safety playing his splits differently, and the strong safety coming up in run support. Basically, you're putting your offense at a disadvantage. The list goes on and on, guys. This is Football 101. All right. Here's another reason why. He's a game manager. It goes into my next point that he's a game manager. And there's nothing wrong with that. As long as you win games, I don't care what you call me. Game manager? Sure. I'm 24-6 as a starter, though. So you really can't doubt that. But he is a game manager. He's not going to win you the game. I remember, oh my gosh, Twitter world went crazy after the Saints game last year and said, oh man, he's not a game manager. Oh yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo's like the best thing since sliced bread. And yeah, he proved that he's not just a game manager. He won the game. Okay, he had a great game. And he played really freaking well. Kept up with Drew Brees. But at the end of the day, he is what he is. And he is a game manager. And we're seeing that today. All right? Lastly, there's no guarantee money on his contract. I think that's the biggest sticking point. With players like, like Eric Armstead, he has guaranteed money coming in, so you can't get rid of him. I know there's a lot of people who are saying, oh man, Armstead, get rid of Eric Armstead, like D Ford. Well, you can't get rid of Eric Armstead because he's owed too much in dead money. It'd be too much of a cap hit. Now, D Ford's a different story. I said it on my podcast yesterday in regards to the Fred Warner deal. So go ahead and take a look at that again. And you will know why I said to get rid of 3 players or wipe their hands clean of 3 players so the 49ers, John Lynch, can get in salary cap health. Now, by wiping your hands of Jimmy Garoppolo, this is the biggest one. And the number one reason why I believe that the 49ers should, yeah, I'm saying it. I'm putting it out there. I think the 49ers should get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. And here's why. Because if you looked at my last podcast, they're in salary cap hell. I'm Fred Warner. They're in salary cap hell, but they need to re-sign Fred Warner. He's a 2018 third-round draft pick. Usually, NFL teams like to extend the player on rookie deals the year prior so he doesn't hit that wall in his last year of in a contract year where they're fighting for his services. You want to extend him the year prior. So that's why it makes sense to wipe your hands clean of Jimmy G. You save your team I think the exact number is $24.1 million. All right, so I'm just going to throw it out there, okay? In my last podcast with Fred Warner, I said to get rid of 3 players. D Ford, Weston Richburg, and Laken Tomlinson. Now you can add Jimmy G to the list. So that's 4 players, all right? D Ford would save you $6.4 million off the books. Weston Richburg would save you another $4.8 million off the books. And Laken Tomlinson would save you $5 million, and Jimmy Garoppolo would save you $24.1 million. In total, that's $42.7 million off the books that the 49ers would save in revenue, or not revenue, but in money for next season, salary cap. Not bad. So you can see where Jimmy Garoppolo would probably be on the outside looking in because Fred Warner needs to be extended. All hell would break loose if Fred Warner wasn't extended. You guys all know how I feel about Fred Warner since last year. I said he was a best middle linebacker since last year. I don't care what Bobby Wagner had. I don't care what NFL Network, what's his face, Michael Robinson, former 49er and Seahawks, said that, no disrespect, but Bobby Wagner's a better. No. No disrespect, but Fred Warner, to me, is the better linebacker. Period. So pay him like one. Bobby Wagner gets paid $18 million annual per year. Fred Warner gets less than $1 million per year. So you guys do the math. Where the money gonna come from? The money doesn't grow on trees. Has to come from somebody. Jimmy Garoppolo easily will fix that problem. Plain and simple. All right? So, I said move on for Jimmy G. So what is the trade value for Jimmy G? Well, the 49ers gave up a second round pick for him, but I don't think his value is a second round pick. I hate to say it because he has no Pro Bowlers or All Pros. He's just not an All Pro quarterback or a Pro Bowl quarterback. He might get 1 or 2 Pro Bowls during his career, but other than that, I don't see a consistent enough player to warrant those accolades. So I'm thinking more of a third round pick. A third round pick would be fair compensation for both organizations. One, the person who's receiving Jimmy Garoppolo gets a serviceable quarterback that they can win with, but also gets a quarterback that is a higher risk, low reward. Low risk, high reward. Because the low risk is, yeah, you're paying him $24 million, but it's not guaranteed, and there's a chance that he may take you to the Super Bowl. There's always that risk-reward factor, right? So that's why I say Jimmy Garoppolo is probably going to be an intriguing prospect. He's going to get traded. He's not going to get released. I think we all know that. I don't think John Lynch is stupid enough to just release him, because I do think he can get something in return for him. All right? So with that being said, what teams would actually trade for Jimmy Garoppolo? Well, you really don't want to trade him to an NFC team. And the reason why is because kind of goes without saying, the Niners play in the NFC. You don't want him to a team like the Seahawks. So when Russell Wilson retires, Jimmy Garoppolo slides right in, like sliding in someone's DM and like, hey guys, what's up? I'm here. No. All right, no. Cut that, bro. All right, so I have broken down 3 teams, and they all hail from the AFC. All right, the first one is, most logical for me, is the New England Patriots. They drafted him. They did their own scouting report on him. Bill Belichick drafted him for a reason to be the successor to Tom Brady. And what's happening in New England right now? They are not doing really well at all. Cam Newton's not the same quarterback. I don't think he'll ever be the same quarterback. And they need to find something next year. Roll in Jimmy Garoppolo for a third round pick. Boom, New England's back in business. Bill Belichick knows what he's getting with Jimmy Garoppolo. He can coach up. He's the best coach in the NFL. I don't care what anyone says. He can coach him up. He knows what he's working with. And you can win with Jimmy G in close games. All right? And that's how the salary cap helps to do it. Fit him in their budget. All right, second team. Why not the Indianapolis Colts? They already swung a deal for DeForest Buckner. I bet you GM Chris Ballard's like, hey, man, yeah, I saw the report on NBC Sports that Jimmy Garoppolo, what's up with him? Is he on the trading block or not, bro? John Lynch would be like, yeah, what do you got for me? And then Chris Ballard would be like, well, how about a third round pick? Because as you know, Chris Ballard is a wheeler and dealer, and he will do whatever it takes, because the Colts are a pretty damn good team. They have a good strong defense, thanks to DeForest Buckner. They have Darius Leonard, who's a beast, and they have they have great pieces to work with all around. They drafted, I believe it was Jonathan Taylor, the running back. So the pieces are that. They have the best all-pro guard in the game, interior offensive guard in the game, and that's Quentin Nelson. So they're set. They have a lot of pieces. All they need is a quarterback. And now Phillip Rivers is only playing on a 1-year contract. So once he's done, give me Jimmy Garoppolo. That's more long-term than Phillip Rivers, who's at the twilight of his career. I'd rather have Jimmy Garoppolo than Phillip Rivers. I think that goes without saying. Yeah, they have the salary cap to make that move. So Jimmy Garoppolo, I can see him in the Indianapolis Colts jersey as well. But if not the Colts, if not the Patriots, who's my third AFC team? Well, that brings me to the AFC West, Denver Broncos. That's right. And the reason I say the Denver Broncos is because the Denver Broncos were in a similar position to where the Niners were before Jimmy Garoppolo arrived. Remember when the 49ers were winning these or losing these close games, playing close games, one-possession games, right? Well, that's what you're seeing with the Denver Broncos this year. 7 points, all right? A combined 7 points is what they lost. Oh, excuse me. How do I word this? Let me word this better. They lost 4 games. Here we go. They lost 4 games this year 2 games were by a combined 7 points. And those 4 losses, they were kind of expected to be losses. They lost to the Chiefs, right? Which is I believe it's the most recent, if I'm not mistaken. They lost to the Titans, they lost to the Steelers, and they lost to the Bucks. All playoff teams. They won all their other games. So if you're looking at it from that perspective, yeah, all you need is a game manager. Drew Lock not getting it done. So if you're GM John Elway, who, by the way, bless your heart, I hope you get well soon. For those who know, he has COVID-19, diagnosed with it. Hope you get well. But getting back to Jimmy Garoppolo and what Vic Fangio, former 49ers defensive coordinator, what they like to do is they can win with Jimmy Garoppolo because Vic Fangio had to deal with Alex Smith all these years. So he's like, man, I think I can win with this guy. John Elway would be like, okay, man, so can we pull the trigger? Yeah, let's do it. And they have the salary cap to do it. Now, they'll have to make some changes from now until next year, but it's not out of the ordinary that it won't happen. It's not like it can't happen, all right? So those are my 3 AFC teams on why I see being Jimmy Garoppolo, I guess, quote-unquote, good fits. But we'll just have to see how it plays out. Well, that'll be it for me. I hope you like my podcast. If you like what I had to offer on Jimmy Garoppolo's latest rumblings, please subscribe to my YouTube channel in the lower right-hand corner of your screen as I keep all things beast. Take care, everyone. I hope you have a very nice, what is it? Is today Wednesday or Tuesday? I forget. I believe it's Tuesday, right? Yeah, I think it is Taco Tuesday. I didn't get my tacos in, but I hope you did. For the gains. All right, I'm out. Peace.